Overview. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a publicist. I am a storyteller, however, who has spent over a decade covering professional wrestling. An industry built on morality plays, heroes and villains, crowd reactions, and the dangerous comfort of picking sides. I didn't come to Vanderpump Rules during a light or carefree period of my life. I found it when things were quiet in the wrong way, when routines had collapsed, confidence was thin, and the future felt undefined. It was a time marked by loss, uncertainty, and the uncomfortable question of what now. What I didn't expect was that a Bravo reality show, something I once dismissed as background noise, would become a source of grounding. Watching these messy, contradictory, deeply human people navigate betrayal, ego, ambition, and self-destruction remind me that chaos is not unique and pain is rarely tidy. There was something oddly stabilizing about seeing emotional reckoning unfold in public without the luxury of editing one's own narrative in real time. As Scandoval exploded, I found myself not just watching, but thinking about accountability, about spectacle, about how the internet chooses villains and heroes, and about how quickly empathy disappears once the story becomes entertainment. Writing through this moment gave me structure when I had none. It gave me language when I felt stuck. It gave me reason to trust my voice again. I also didn't realize that engaging seriously with Bravo, analyzing it, contextualizing it, treating it as a cultural text rather than a guilty pleasure would open another professional door for me. This book exists because I allowed myself to take pop culture seriously, and in doing so, took myself seriously again. If this book does anything for you, and I mean anything, I hope it reminds readers that meaning can come from unexpected places. Healing doesn't always arrive through self-help books or grand epiphanies. Sometimes it comes through a television show you put on to fill the silence. It ends up helping you rebuild something that you thought was gone. When you look back through everything that's gone on through Vanderpump Rules, to Tom and Kristen's relationship from the beginning, to transition with Tom and Ariana, to Rachel coming into the scenes with James, and them eventually breaking off their engagement on the season 9 reunion, to where we are now, and you think about all the context, and you look at the relationship, let's say, with Tom Sandoval, right, and James Kennedy. Tom was one of James' biggest defenders. He bonded with James over music and supported him when the rest of the group isolated him due to his behavior. Sandoval played a major role in orchestrating James' elaborate proposal to Rachel, dubbed Rachella, further entrenching himself in their relationship and earning Rachel's trust. By the time Rachel and James announced the end of their engagement during the season 9 reunion, filmed amid the pandemic, the group was once again reshuffling. Rachel, newly single and emotionally adrift, began navigating the show without the protective identity of being James Kennedy's partner. Meanwhile, Tom Sandoval's long-term relationship with Ariana Madix, 9 years strong, had entered a quieter, more complicated phase. They shared a home, a brand, and a public image of stability, but cracks were forming beneath the surface. Before Scandoval ever broke, another scandal was already brewing. Tom Schwartz, Sandoval's best friend and business partner, became the subject of speculation. After an impromptu makeout with Rachel at Sheena and Brock Davis' wedding in Mexico, social media latched onto the story, painting Schwartz as the next villain. He absorbed much of the early backlash, even as rumors quietly circulated that something else was happening behind the scenes. In hindsight, Schwartz's involvement functioned as both distraction and shield. All of this matters because Scandoval did not occur in a vacuum. It exploded within a group that had normalized cheating, forgiven worse offenses, and rewritten history countless times before. What made Scandoval different was not the act itself, but the timing, the secrecy, the emotional proximity involved. On March 1st, 2023, during the performance at Tom Tom, one of the restaurants Sandoval co-owned, his phone fell out of his pocket. Ariana Madix, attending the show with Sandoval's ex Kristen Doty and her new partner, Luke Broderick, picked it up for safekeeping. Trusting her instincts, Ariana went through the phone. What she found was a screen recording of Tom Sandoval and Rachel Leviss in an intimate video. Months of speculation became reality in an instant. Rachel was in New York that night preparing for Watch What Happens live appearance with Andy Cohen. Sandoval continued performing with his band, Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. Within hours, the relationship and an entire social structure collapsed. Scandoval was not just about infidelity, it was about hypocrisy, selective memory, and a group and audience forced to confront how quickly they forgot the past in order to punish the present. And that is where this story begins.